Teachers are reliable for a lot of different responsibilities inside the classroom and outside the classroom these days. There are a lot of helpful tools that a teacher can use to have a successful classroom. These tools can include the growth mindset theory that was come up by Carol Dweck, the T-test evaluation. This is a rubric that a teacher can follow. It's kind of like a guideline where an evaluator comes in and evaluates the teacher in the classroom and gives them feedback. And also the Charlotte Danielson four-domain model. This also kind of goes hand in hand with the T-test. It's a type of evaluation that teachers can use to help guide them to have a better successful classroom. It's helpful for not only the teachers, but it's also helpful for the students. One of the first points that I hit and talk about in the paper and that I'm going to talk about tonight is the growth mindset theory that came up by Carol Dweck. This is a theory that intelligence is something that can be grown and taught, that it's not fixed on anything. It's a type of mindset, because students can have a fixed mindset where they're so stuck on the failures. They feel like if they failed, there's no point in retrying, that they failed and they're going to continue to fail, and that's the mindset they have. And that also works the same way as succeeding. Once a student has reached a certain level and has felt like they have succeeded to their furthest potential, they have a fixed mindset that they can't go any further. And that's where it's really the teacher's responsibility to teach the students that even when they do fail, there's stuff to learn from their failures. There's life lessons that they can learn from failures. They can grow, they can retry. It's all in the mindset. And also with a student's success, teachers nowadays are so they're taught to praise students. They are taught to tell a student how good they're doing, and it's all about their work and their process of the work, and not the completion of the work and what actually made them succeed. So this is also a type of mindset that you have to give students, that even though they have accomplished something that's great, you need to teach them how did they do it, what can they do to even go further. It's the teacher's responsibility to encourage the student and to continue to push and challenge the student. That's one of the key things that the growth mindset talks about, is the challenges that a teacher should challenge a student to do, is to go further, show them that they do have more potential than what they actually see, because sometimes the student doesn't know how to actually push themselves even further from what they assume they can do. And this also includes talking with the family, because sometimes a student's home life is different from what their school life is. At home, they may have a fixed mindset. Their family may think and teach the student that this is something you'll never succeed at, don't even try, and that's a fixed mindset. Or they may tell their student that you've done the best that you can, and that's all that you can do, and that's a fixed mindset. So it's kind of important for the teacher to also communicate with the family and the parent that they need to push their child to do even better, that they have even more potential there that they don't even see. Integrated into the growth mindset is the T-test evaluation, and this is a type of evaluation where an evaluator comes in formally or informally and sits and watches the teacher and watches the classroom. There's lots of different steps to a T-test. there's the pre-conference, and that's where the teacher and the evaluator sit down, and the teacher leads the meeting and talks about what the evaluator will actually see during their t-test, what to kind of expect, what the class will be doing, kind of let the evaluator know what kind of students that she's working with, can kind of give her a background of what maybe the lesson's going to be about, the strengths and weaknesses that the teacher thinks may happen. So then the evaluator comes, informally or formally, watches the class, takes notes, goes by a rubric, a strict rubric, and there's lots of different dimensions and domains in that, but there's a teacher can either get distinguished, accomplished, I'm losing my train of thought, distinguished, accomplished, still needs work, and there's a few more in that rubric. But it kind of gives a teacher an idea of where they are when it comes to teaching, and especially during that lesson. After the evaluator has evaluated, they will have a post-conference after the evaluation, and it'll be the teacher and the evaluator. And the evaluator will just kind of talk to the teacher about things that were good and the strengths that the teacher had, and also maybe some weaknesses that the teacher had, and give some suggestions of improvements that the teacher may want to change in the lesson. It's supposed to be helpful. It's critique, but it's positive critique. It's something that the teacher can gain from and become a better teacher. It's not something that's supposed to be negative to hurt the teacher or to say that you're doing this wrong or that, this was just absolutely horrible. It's to give the teacher some encouragement and also just some positive feedback on things that might be needed to be changed. So really, it's important for a teacher and the evaluator to have good communication skills, and it's very important for a teacher to have good communication skills and be able to collaborate with these professional evaluators and be able to take this feedback in a positive way and learn from it and not dwell on the negative, because if that was to happen, the teacher would not become successful anymore. They would just continue to have the weaknesses and not be able to grow from it. Charlotte Danielson and the 4 domains module that she came up with goes hand in hand with the t-test. It's another type of evaluation. It stresses about almost the same importance as, classroom environment, and the responsibilities of a teacher, the behavior management. It all goes hand in hand of just how it's the teacher's responsibility to have a good classroom environment and to create an effective classroom and to meet all the needs of every student. That's one of the most important things about a teacher, is that the teacher meets every individual student's needs, whether their needs are to be lowered. The teacher needs to pull lower material and kind of start from a ground basis and work way up, or if the student is at a high level thinking, how can the teacher push that student even more? That's the whole goal, is to keep pushing, encouraging the students to do better, and with these tools, a teacher can have a very successful classroom if they just follow the rubric, do all that they can to help that student and have a growth mindset for that student. Not only does the teacher need to help the students do this, they also need to reflect in their daily teaching, and they need to reflect a professional teacher, and they also need to have their own growth mindset. Give students examples of ways that they've grown. All these things can be very important in a classroom. That's mainly what my paper talks about, is these 3 main topics: Carol Dweck and the growth mindset, the t-test evaluation, and the Charlotte Danielson evaluation model. These are all helpful things that a teacher can have a very successful classroom.